Hello and welcome to Meet Me in Tennessee. I'm your host, Allie, and this podcast is sponsored by the Northeast Tennessee Tourism Association. You can find us online at northeasttennessee.org and on all social media. And our podcast here is produced by Maypop Media and Visit Johnson City. And today we're sitting down with Emily Thompson, Director of Funfest and Special Events with Visit Kingsport. Thank you for being here today, Emily.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. Can you please share with our listeners what it means to be the director of Funfest and a little bit of the background of this exciting event coming to Kingsport?
It means you don't take vacations in the summer. No, just kidding. No, I absolutely love this job. I waited my whole life thinking one day I want to be over Funfest, and here we are. And so I love it. Funfest is such a neat event. It is 44 years old, started in 1981 in little old Kingsport.
Wow.
It has continued to grow into what it is today, and we hope continues to grow in years to come.
Yeah, for sure. So over 40 years going. That's amazing.
It is. It's a 9-day plus festival. We still can't pack it into just 9 days anymore. We still call it a 9-day festival. But we pile as much as we can into that and are proud that we are still going into 44 years. It's so rare nowadays that festivals are able to continue that kind of longevity. And so we are blessed with a community and a region that supports that.
Sure.
And we're glad.
Are you from the area?
I am born and raised. So I grew up attending Funfest with my family and kind of got the love and appreciation for it in that way. It was a very important piece of kind of our family. My grandparents kind of instilled that into all of us. So we grew up going to all kinds of Funfest stuff. I loved it growing up and then had the chance to get involved with it through my high school and college days and swore I'd never leave it. And here I am.
And here you are. That's so exciting. Funfest has been a staple in the community for, several decades. I remember, I think my first concert at Funfest was Alison Krauss.
Oh, one of the best.
Yeah.
One of the biggest.
Yeah, definitely.
Probably the biggest that we ever had.
And it's nostalgia, memories, thinking about the hot air balloons. And I read online that the festival focused on a theme of community unity.
Yes, so it was definitely born out of the idea of community unity. It began in a time when there was some separation in the city over some political items. And so a lot of the big employers and the chamber, they all kind of came together and said, how do we bring our employees back together? Because it was causing issues in a workday even.
Yeah.
And how do we, bring this community back together? And that's where the idea of Funfest was born. And they all kind of said, let's all put our efforts together.
Sure.
And create something that isn't about politics or topics or work. It's just about really bringing everybody together, families, friends, coworkers, and finding a way to mesh that all together. And so that truly is what it still is. It is such a festival. Trying to define it to someone new is almost impossible because it's so many different things. In that 9 days, you have pieces that are for tourists. You have pieces that are for churches coming together with events. You have so many youth events. You have senior events. You've got your big stage concerts, your hot air balloons, your fireworks. But there's so many little and big events throughout the whole thing. So defining it is hard. But it truly is about that unity piece and really just saying, everybody come together. It serves as such a staple for so many people to host their high school reunions or family reunions or that time where people that grew up here maybe come back during that time because they know there's a lot of extra things to do. And so we hope it continues to be that for families into the future.
Yeah, Emily, and I imagine it will. I love that it started with this theme of community unity and talking about the political climate back then, 40 years ago. We're in a similar place now. So to have this recurring festival where folks can just come out in the summertime and forget about, some of the craziness in the world and just enjoy themselves, connect with the community. And
absolutely. We saw that spirit kind of revive as everybody took that time out for COVID and being one of the first big events back after that, it really kind of revived that spirit of everybody needed that again. Something to get out and do and together and not think about everything else. And so we can, we continue to try to ride that same spirit year to year and keep new things and fresh ideas and bring back some of the old and really just hope to continue to bathe in that into the future.
Yeah, I love that. And Wow, 9 days, a 9-day festival. I'm sure that's hard to put into a short term for someone who's never been.
Yes, it is. So it is 9 days. We have 85 to 95 events year to year. We fluctuate, of course, but it's typically 85 plus,
Wow.
and it's in like 30 plus locations. And so defining that to a typical festival goer is impossible, but it's a lot of different things. But we also add, a weekend prior even to that, and we have what we call our block party weekend, where it's really the weekend for the community to kind of rev up and say, here it comes. And that's more of your neighborhoods. It's kind of their weekend to have the neighborhood picnic or the church picnic.
Yeah.
A lot of businesses use that as an open house day, really just to say, we're excited, Funfest is coming. It's summer, here we go. And so that leads us into the week that is Funfest. We kick that off with what we call the world's longest parade because everybody can be in it. And so that kicks us off for the week. And really, we just dive straight through. There is something all day, every day for 9 days.
For 9 full days.
9 full days.
Wow. And I'm thinking some of those bigger events that stand out to me, the hot air balloons, the taste. Can you share with our listeners?
So we have what we call our staple iconic events, or even our bookends almost. And so we lead off with that parade and concert downtown. And on Saturday, you have our downtown street fair, which kind of brings multiple events together in downtown. We just take over the heart of downtown with all kinds of things throughout that Saturday. That night, we then move down to Dobbins-Bennett Stadium, where we take over the core of the city with the Crazy Eights race. Such an exciting event. We have thousands of runners that come in from all over, not just the United States, but the country, to compete in that 3K walk and then that 8K run. We've held world records with that event. We now host as the USA Track and Field Men's 8K Championship for the country.
Wow.
And I will say it now, they'll kill me if this releases before, but we also will be hosting the women's 8K event as well for the USA Track and Field. So such a neat event because you get to come out, they line the neighborhood streets with candles and lights and people just sit in their front yard and you're cheering on runners from all over the world to compete for that title. It's so
cool.
neat just to be in this little town. So we love that event. Sunday, you have a lot of key events for us. Our Farm Fest out at Exchange Place. We host the Allendale Family Picnic. It's for all ages. Also really tries to focus on kind of that generation that we miss with a lot of things. Our older kids.
Yeah.
We have Jelly Ball out there where they're competing.
Jelly Ball.
Do you know what Jelly Ball is?
No.
So it's like paintball and laser tag combined, but it doesn't hurt. So the Orby balls and the guns.
Oh, I'm very familiar, yes.
We throw them in a ring and they just shoot each other for hours.
Sounds like a blast.
All kinds of fun stuff out of that event. Then throughout the week, you have a lot of those smaller things. Our Kids Central event, which features all kinds of activities for the kids for 2 solid days. We finish up that event with one of our favorites, Splash Dance. We just throw kids out in the street and spray them with a fire truck for 2 hours. It's amazing. But then you get to the Taste, absolutely one of my favorites. The Taste for me is kind of what reminds me of my childhood because it was like growing up, everybody had their spot they set at the Taste. So for those that don't know, we take over Memorial Park outside of the stadium where our concerts are held, shut down that street. We fill the street in the park, and it's basically a giant community picnic. We have 18 vendors set up. So you have all kinds of food to pick from. You can bring your own food as well, but we definitely have plenty for you to eat. So you can kind of just work your way through as many of those vendors you can eat at. That's my goal. How many can you eat in 4 days? But they're open every night, Wednesday through Saturday.
So come hungry.
And come hungry, absolutely. And then we hope you'll come in and enjoy that concert. On Wednesday night, we lead off with actually a movie in the street.
Cool.
So we do a giant screen movie for the kids and everybody. And then lead right into all that concert fun and balloons.
Oh, so much fun going on. It's a Funfest.
It is Funfest.
Yeah. Wow. I didn't know about the race. So this is like you said a country?
So they come in from all over to compete. It has held the world record in the men's and the women's at some time for 8K races.
How cool.
It's one of the fastest courses out there. And so they come in from all over. I love to watch the Kenyans run because they go by so fast, I don't even know what happens.
Yeah.
But at this point, hosting that track and field championship brings a whole nother round of elite runners in to compete for that title. So it's really exciting to watch that one continue to grow. But you've also got kids races in that. You have a 3K walk run. So, I mean, you don't have to come out and run it. I walk slowly.
Yeah.
And so it's a little bit of everything.
So you just have this central festival bringing out all folks from different walks of life and runs. Family friendly. Is it pet friendly?
It is.
Okay.
The majority of events are also pet friendly. We also have pet specific things throughout. We have a dog show. Don't think the big time dog show. This is all the kids bring out their dog, dress alike, costumes, all the things. So we have multiple events that are really designed even to bring your pets out.
Yeah.
There's actually 3 or 4 events that are very dog specific. A lot of the events are dog friendly. Of course, we always want to remind people it's hot. There's a lot of people. So there are plenty of events where we would encourage you to leave them at home because it's better for them and everybody else. Of course, none of them are allowed in the stadium for those runs or the concerts. But there are a lot of events that are very pet friendly.
Right. And what dates are the festival this year?
So the full festival dates are July 19th through the 27th. Our block party weekend is July 12th through the 14th.
Okay. So very hot time of year. That's a great point. Staying hydrated.
It is warm.
Bringing your water jugs.
Yes, it is very important. We also, at most all events, have a concession stand set up that's put on by our county local bands.
Cool.
They help run our concessions operations for us. And then, of course, many of the events have food trucks and other vendors as well.
Awesome. Well, Emily, you're doing a great job explaining this festival as if I'm a first-time visitor. So I've gone to the pre-event block parties, and I might have run the 8K, and now we're dancing into the entertainment part. So after the taste and we've got our dinner, what kind of entertainment y'all got lined up?
So we have a Sunset concert series lineup this year that we are so excited about. So we start Thursday night with our contemporary Christian concert. That'll kick off with Blessing Offer. And our headliner this year is Crowder. So excited about that.
Yeah.
Friday night, we're going to feature 3. We kick off one of our local favorites, Carson Peters. Love him to death.
Yes.
Followed by Emily Ann Roberts, which we can still kind of call local. She is from Knoxville. I'm excited to continue to see all that she's doing right now.
Yes.
I think on tour still with Blake Shelton. And so we will have the headliner that night is Tyler Hubbard. He just released a new album. And if you haven't heard it, check it out. If you haven't listened to Tyler Hubbard, if you were a Florida Georgia Line fan, he is the Georgia side of what was Florida Georgia Line. His new music is awesome. So definitely check that out. We're excited about all that's to come from him through the summer. Saturday night, going to be a great show. Philip Phillips opens the show. And then our closeout finale show is Goo Goo Dolls.
Whoa.
And we're so excited for that. I loved Goo Goo Dolls growing up.
I did too.
I'm so excited for that show. They've even got some new stuff out as well. It's fun to watch all these artists. Almost all of them have had either new singles or new albums come out here in the last month. So excited to see how those concerts go for us.
Absolutely. I love the combination of local and a little blast from the past with the Goo Goo Dolls.
We try to mix it up. That's something we really try hard to do is hit different genres, different ages, and really try to offer something for all the listeners.
Sure.
And so we hope to keep doing that in the years to come.
Absolutely. And it's super family-friendly atmosphere.
Absolutely. It is. It is all ages. You'll find all ages almost at all the events. And so we really try to keep that family atmosphere and shows that are for that family atmosphere.
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you for sharing about it. Can you tell our listeners, for people who may not have been to the area, about the hot air balloons? Can they ride them? What's this about?
Absolutely one of my favorite pieces and what we would call the definition of Funfest is those hot air balloons. I love it. So they are here with us. We have usually like 15 to 20 balloons. They come in from all over. And those pilots will put on a great show if the weather allows. Again, hot air balloons are very, very specific to weather.
Sure.
And so we do our very best to make all those events happen. But again, it's weather dependent. So Friday night, while you're at the taste or the concert, one of the coolest parts is the hot air balloon glow. So all of those balloons will inflate throughout the street in what we call Legion Field next to the stadium and become giant night lights. It's so neat because you get to get up close and personal with them. They're not going to fly right then. They're just going to sit still. They look like giant night lights. It looks so cool. And you really kind of get to get up close and personal and talk to the pilots and the crew. So really a neat event, especially for the kids.
Yeah.
I think everybody becomes a kid in that moment when all of those go up. Saturday morning, you got to come out early. Breakfast with the balloons. So 6:30 in the morning, we're all up and ready to rock and roll. And all of those balloons inflate and try a mass ascension if the weather allows. So we try to get them all off the ground. A lot of times they hang out and hover right there, which is great for pictures. But again, you're right there with them.
Yeah.
So it makes for awesome pictures and to really see how that all, happens. And then Saturday evening, if they can, they'll try to get some up and fly as those concerts are going as well. again, it's always up to the weather.
Yeah.
We do not, at this exact moment, through Funfest, offer rides for that.
Okay.
We're kind of trying to see if that's something we can add.
Yeah.
And so stay tuned for that if there are options outside of those events where those pilots are able to offer that. But for this, it's really just about coming out to see all of them together.
Which is a wonder.
And it's amazing.
Yeah.
I love it. I love when the weather lets them all get off the ground. Because it's so neat to watch.
And it's a staple, if not a symbol of Funfest.
It is.
Seeing the balloons, just reminds you of all the years it's been around.
Absolutely, it is. That's typically, if you ask people what they remember, that's one of the things they'll always say. And so we hope to continue to keep that as such a staple piece of that. And then those fireworks, we close out that night. It's one of my favorite moments. I love fireworks,
me
number
too.
one. But one of the greatest fireworks shows you can see around here. We love it. We try to make it bigger and better every year. And really just one of my favorite moments.
Yeah, it's spectacular. And a good way to wrap up 9 days of just events and
we go out with a
great
bang.
Foods. Yeah, for sure. Well, thank you for walking us through that experience. Y'all should definitely come out this July and check out Funfest and all Visit Kingsport has to offer. Can you just share a little bit about your experience with what it's like putting on an event of this caliber, your team? And I'm sure it takes a
It
team
is,
effort.
it is a team. Our whole Visit Kingsport team is, of course, very much involved in this festival. There's a lot of moving parts.
Yeah.
That's one thing you can never define to people is what happens in the background.
Right.
It's a lot of events, a lot of locations. But again, we don't put all of them on incompletely. It is hundreds of volunteers. It is every business, church, civic group, school groups, the bands, the soccer teams, everybody is a piece of that. We have hundreds and hundreds of volunteers, hundreds and hundreds of sponsors that make every piece of this event come together. And then you've got every department in the city, the county, all of our first responder groups, EMS, fire, police, all of those, it takes every group.
Yeah.
Our public works department, I say always, that is the magic. That is how we put on events like this. Getting all, every trash can, every portalet, everything that has to make these different locations come to life. So it is a huge team that makes that happen. I'm just happy to be the part that pushes the schedule around.
Yeah.
And really, it's just neat to watch the whole community come together.
For sure. We're
it
thankful,
takes every part of it.
Thankful for all you do and your team and the community because sometimes when you're at a festival, you don't think those trash cans don't empty themselves. That takes volunteers and
and it's so magical. I always say I talk about my favorite pieces of the festival. It's the spirit. Period. It brings together this spirit of community, and I love that. But my favorite moments are the part that nobody else really notices, and that's thousands and thousands of people are out there eating, and they've got drinks and all the things. And there's that split second after it ends when the fireworks drop that it's like, whoa, you see the chaos, all the trash. And literally just moments later, it's like a clean slate. And, the hundreds of people that make that happen are amazing. My other favorite moment is the morning after, not because it's over. I hate when it's over. But the morning after, the one good piece of social media, I will open my phone and it's people I don't even know. But you see throughout that week, everybody else's perspective, everybody, and they might be fussing. They might not have liked how long they stood in line for something. They might not have thought it was the best concert they ever saw, but there's a picture with it and it meant they were there.
Yeah.
And they all saw it from a different perspective, and in that moment, we see why we put all this in and why these sponsors put all they do in, because you're making a memory for all those people in some moment, and it's all different pieces. But I just love to see how everybody else sees it.
Yeah, that's precious.
It's cool. I love it. That's why we keep doing it.
Yeah, thanks for sharing that. It's always so cool to have events and festivals for that reason, because it brings everyone out and we're all kind of doing the same thing at the same time, and there's something special about that. So yeah, thank you for sharing about that. If someone listening wanted to get involved with volunteering, where could they find out more information?
So absolutely, you can send us a message through our website or through social media, of course, Facebook, Instagram, funfest.net. There's always something. We're always looking for new volunteers in our merchandise store. Every event is always looking for volunteers.
Awesome.
So if there's something you'd like to get involved with, absolutely, we'd love to get you plugged in. There's plenty to do. We have our trash busters that come out and pick up that trash.
Yeah.
When I was little, that was the first goal I had, was I want to be the one that picks up the trash. And here we are. I get to pick up everybody's trash sometimes.
You stepped right into that role.
Just right into it. Absolutely.
But you know what? When you do it, you inspire someone else to do it. And that has a meaningful impact. We're going to switch it up a little bit.
All right, let's switch.
We're going to go a little more personal. So Emily, if you're on a long road trip, going to somewhere new, what kind of music or favorite road trip songs do you like to jam?
I love some 90s. So I would be probably jamming to some 90s. We can go back to last year's concert. It'd probably be that Boyz II Men.
Yeah.
Or even, now I'm hooked on Goo Goo Dolls as I'm getting ready for that one. Absolutely.
I didn't know they dropped a new album. I'm going to have to check that out.
They've got some new stuff coming out. Absolutely.
Yeah, cool.
Keeping it fresh.
Yes, always. What are some of your favorite activities or hobbies to do around Northeast Tennessee?
So, of course, most of the time it's doing all of our events. But, I love to get my boys out to Bays Mountain. They love going to check out Great Fossil Site and all of that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So in those moments, we're not doing the festivals and events that we do. It's really trying to get my kids out to see all that our area has to offer. They love to be outside. They love being at Warriors Path.
Yeah.
And so we typically spend most of our time that or on a ball field.
Yep. That's relatable, and there's always something new to explore, I feel like.
Absolutely. There's so much to do around here.
There really is. Even at
we
Bays
don't have
Mountain
to go on a road trip. That's
new
for
exhibits.
Sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Always something here. Who's been your favorite performer from any of the Funfests?
Absolute favorite. I'm going to have to say I loved Charlie Daniels. That man is the sweetest thing. And I loved his times here. We had him twice. And so he would probably be one of my all-time favorites.
Yeah.
Martina McBride would probably be second. Also,
some big names and some big crowds at those events.
Yes, indeed.
For sure.
Don't ask me my least favorites. We won't go there.
Okay. I'll save that one.
I don't want to ruin people's vision.
So where can folks learn more about getting tickets and keep up to date with any entertainment?
Yes. So funfest.net right now, you can buy tickets to those concerts. They are online now for sale. Coming the end of June is when we open our store at the Kingsport Chamber. And so you can get all of your merchandise, shirts, hats, all the things, tickets to all those other events. You can buy tickets in person as well for general admission tickets. Our VIP tickets are only online. And of course, you want to go in and get your tickets now. Number one, the price goes up. Number two, we hope they run out.
Right.
And so you can do those online now. As we get a little further along, you'll start to see that whole schedule come online here soon.
Okay.
Everything will be at funfest.net. The block party applications, parade applications, all of that. You'll start to see everything appear in the coming months.
Awesome sauce.
Yeah.
Looking forward to it.
We're excited.
Yeah, we're excited too. So also, I guess folks could check out visitkingsport.com for more information on things to do around Kingsport.
And all of the events to come. We'll kick off our summer festivals here shortly with Racks by the Tracks, and then we just keep going till summer ends.
Awesome. We got tons of events and festivals coming up. Y'all check it out. And Emily, I appreciate all you do for the community.
Thank you
for putting this event together.
And thanks for having us.
Yeah, for sure. And for upcoming events and happenings in Northeast Tennessee, be sure to follow us on all the socials and check out our website at northeasttennessee.org, where there is more up here to do, see, and be when you meet me in Tennessee. Thanks for tuning in.